Hey, Chris Williams here, keynote speaker and thought leader on workplace culture. And today, I'm actually in my office. And the reason is because I thought this would be a great environment to talk about how do you leverage the entrepreneurial spirit or the intrapreneur inside of your large organization. Well, you know, the person who has an entrepreneurial heart, you see it, you see the drive, you see that they really want to be able to kind of own what they do and go where they want to go. Seems like the rebel, right, inside of your company. But you also know that same sort of skill set and that same sort of drive is what's needed to take your company to the next level, to push through those projects, to make sure that you're being innovative, to make sure that you're cutting edge. So how do you leverage that and be able to retain that sort of type of talent? Well, that's what I want to talk about today. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about 3 things that you can do in order to leverage the intrapreneur or the entrepreneur inside of your organization today. So as an entrepreneur, I want to give you some insight. And the first thing that I will tell you is make sure that your intrapreneur, who you know, that guy or gal right now that you're thinking about as you're watching this, has an opportunity to create their own space. It is very important that they understand there's a clear path as far as movement inside of the company, but they also want to be able to influence that movement as well. Listen, as an entrepreneur, I love the fact that I am able to kind of carve out my own lane. I love the fact that I don't necessarily have reins and only one way to do things when it comes to what I do as a keynote speaker. I can do it in books. I can do it by video, which you're watching now. I can do it as a podcast with the Way Forward podcast. I can do it in keynote conversations. I can do it in workshops. I get to do it on panels. I get to do what I love in multiple ways. And that's what intrapreneurs want inside of your organization. To be honest, the policies and the procedures sometimes just don't work for what you're really asking for in the end. And so it's very, very important that if you really want to leverage the intrapreneur on your team and inside of your companies who are all in the door right now and keep that top talent, you really got to allow them to create their own space. So a good way to do that is to give them the playbook, but allow them to adjust along the way. Give them the guidelines, but have an open door policy so that they can come to you with new suggestions, new ways, new innovative ways to approach all of the different things that you ultimately want to accomplish. The second key thing about leveraging the intrapreneur inside of your company is to truly understand that sometimes the person who needs to lead the change is the intrapreneur, not you as the leader. What do I mean by that? There's so many times in sports is a great analogy where you hear these stories about a Peyton Manning or a Tom Brady in football, or maybe a Michael Jordan in basketball, where the coach will draw up the greatest play in that timeout in order to win the game. They got 4.6 seconds left. They've drawn up the play. They're ready to go. And the star, the intrapreneur, says, "Coach, that's great. I got this." And they go out and they win the game. You know, and I think in sports, if we have not had those moments where these guys and these women in sports were not willing to step up and just say, "Hey, I know we can draw up the best design laid plans, but I got to go with my gut on this one," I don't think we'd have some of the stories that we hear now about sports players. And much like sports players, intrapreneurs have that same heart. You have got to sometimes, yes, you might draw up the greatest plans. Your policies and your procedures may be great. The way to get something done may have been proven over time. But intrapreneurs might have that small little adjustment that can change the dynamics of how you go about doing business by just giving them the opportunity to lead the change. So it may be crunch time on a particular project or a product that you're releasing or a service that you do. It may be, we've done it this way all the time. And I get that. However, if you truly want to leverage an intrapreneur, sometimes giving them the opportunity to lead that change in the way that they may best see fit will not only do well for them and their ego and how they feel because they were able to lead something and see it all the way through, but it also might make you look good as a leader because other people will start to notice that you give people that opportunity to lead the change. The third thing that you can do is a very simple one, but you'll be surprised how much it goes into truly creating loyalty and engagement at such high levels. And it's really this. Greatest quote I've ever heard: don't tell smart people what to do. Bring them to the table and listen. There's no other way around it. Whether we like it or not, we don't know everything as leaders. I know that your name is on the main communications that go out to the company worldwide, and I get that many people are looking to you for the decisions and the answers, and all of that is great. But the truth is, you know deep down that it's the people with you who work on your teams and who work on those teams who truly get the work done. So on the next initiative that you're planning, the next idea that you're looking to break out, the ideas that you may be looking for and the creativity, do not, with Intrapreneurs, bring them everything and then tell them to go execute on that without first having them brought them to the table in order to be able to have an open discussion. Buy-in happens when you bring people in. That's how they buy in. They won't buy in by all the fancy presentations and the colors and how it sounds and the numbers. They're really bought in when you bring them in during the decision-making process, during the ideation of the thing or the product or service that you're looking to do. When you do that with Intrapreneurs, I promise you, it will change the way they look at you, the way they view their space, the way they view their relationship with your company by a big margin. And you'll be surprised to what you'll get and just how much effort and loyalty and drive and engagement that you'll have with those employees. So when the entrepreneur inside of your company has an opportunity to own their own space, and when they're able to also be a part of leading the change that you so desire, and then when you bring them to the table at the ideation of something being created that's going to be long term, I know for a fact that that will ensure that you are leading the way forward for you, your company, and more importantly, retaining top tier talent who just might be an entrepreneur. Hey, did you like that video? I hope you did. If you did, please leave comments down below. Tell me what you thought about it. Tell me what stood out to you. More importantly, if you would and want more information about this and other things that I talk about, or you want to submit different ideas, please feel free to email me at chris@thechristopherwilliams.com. Also subscribe below so that you can continue to get weekly content like this. And I hope that you make forward progress the most important part to your day. Take care.